Still watching the Afia Morning Show, and today it's all about the courtroom with developments at the Federal High Court in Abuja. Leader of the separatist group, Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, has of course fired all members of his legal team. Kanu told the court that he was willing to defend himself based on his position. All the senior advocates in the team, led by Kanu Agabi, SAN, announced their decision to withdraw their continuous participation in the case. In this video obtained by Afia TV, Kanu is seen boldly addressing the court from the dock, challenging the court's jurisdiction to continue to try him. Let's take a look.
But that's what you wrote. You said here, my lord, that the defendant has now applied for bail. Now, as I've said earlier, bail is a discretion of the court, taking into consideration all the conditions laid down in Muhammad Abacha v. State. At this stage, I am of the opinion that to make or take a stand on the bail application without first hearing and determining the issue that is glaring in the face, which is the absence of the defendant from the court since 25th of April 2017 until he was produced on the 29th of June, my lord, which was exactly what the Supreme Court did. They said that he did not jump bail. These criminals came to my house to kill me. That's what the Supreme Court said. This is in your own court, my lord. So I cannot understand, my lord, why my trial will be conducted contrary to the Constitution of Nigeria that said I must have free and unfettered access to my counsel. It's here. This is the law of Nigeria.
And of course, it is no longer news that activist Sowore was arrested shortly after, of course, getting into the courtroom and embracing Mazi Kanu. We saw some police operatives who said they had been sent by the Commissioner of Police to invite him in. At the time, no explanation was provided, but a subsequent video showed the PPRO of the Police Command, of course, explaining why he was taken in and, of course, invited for questioning, vowing to prosecute him speedily. Let's take a moment to watch the moment that Sowore was just, shall we say, invited to the police for whatever reasons. We'll take a look at Sowore in that moment that he captured, possibly using his mobile phone, even though some of the police officers appeared displeased with his action. Take a look.
Put that phone down.
This is my younger brother. Now, what are you upset about?
Put that phone down.
So you said the Commissioner of Police said you should arrest me?
Yes, we are not
over what?
To bring you to the office.
By force?
Is it by force? I'm not holding you.
No, well, you said that. So why you then have? So you didn't bring a letter of invitation now.
Somebody, sorry.
That's not your business. When did you start telling?
Is this your car?
Yes.
So they follow us from behind.
Let me give them my stuff.
Why? What did you do?
They said they shouldn't leave people behind, but I was able to capture when the police was saying they should drop phone.
Follow them all.
Yes, follow them. Follow them.
See, that was how one DSS.
They go.
Oh, now follow them. Don't wait. Just drive behind them.
Now, while that happened on the sidelines, due to the intervention of some SANs, Kanu will be allowed to open his defense officially today. Justice SAN said he needed more time to prepare and, of course, formally open his defense today. To assess these legal developments, we're joined in the studio by Barrister Chiagozie Michael Wabuko, who is a legal practitioner, to provide more insights on these theatrics course going on there. Thank you, Barrister Wabuko, for joining us.
Good morning to you, Natalie. Good morning.
Good morning, welcome.
Shocking display. Are you shocked? Is Nigeria still shocking to you?
No, not at all. We are used to it.
Justification everywhere.
We are used to it. We're no longer shocked. Anything can happen in Nigeria.
It's hard being in Nigeria, and it's even harder defending Nigeria.
That's true. So, I mean, thank God our job is not to defend Nigeria, right? We're going to hold Nigeria to account. Barrister Wabuko, what's your reaction to kind of sacking his legal team led by Kanu Agabi and saying he's going to defend himself? How did you feel seeing him stand there in the dock and speak. How did you feel? Did you feel it was a passionate moment? Did you feel sorry for him? Did you feel that this man is like no other? How did you feel?
Well, I don't feel sorry for him. Nnamdi Kanu has always been bold. He's a man that cannot be intimidated. That's the fact. He's a man that has been offered, presumably, all kinds of gratifications to drop the bid, and he has refused to do that. So I don't think he's somebody to be pitied. I think he knows what he's doing, though I didn't actually expect him to sack his legal counsel at this point of the trial. I expected him to have, in fact, for me, I think he needs more counsel now than what he did. I'm not shocked. I know that he has the capability of defending himself, and he has the constitutional right of defending himself.
We have been asking why. Why? The previous analyst said that maybe he did that because of financial reasons. Maybe there's a financial undertone that some of these SANs charge a lot. But I don't think I agree. I think he's been engaging them for a long time. I mean, it's just like finally the tortoise is about to come out of the well and is suddenly crying. I'm just saying, it just seems like ill-timed if it's about financial decisions. I don't know. Why do you think he made that decision?
Well, nobody knows. But what I am aware, and I'm sure, is that his legal team is aware. I think he must have discussed with them and proffered his reasons to them. That's what I think. I don't think finance is a factor here. I don't think that the lawyers were overcharging him and then he had to lay them off. No, I am very sure that some of them are even doing it pro bono. I can vouch that some of the lawyers are doing it pro bono. A lot of people believe in his cause. A lot of people believe that he has a right to his freedom and liberty. So I don't think it's about money. I think he has his personal reasons, which he has not told anybody besides his legal team. I think they discussed and agreed. Whatever he will do today or subsequent days, I think he's in concert with his legal team. I think that they are still working from the background. You may not see them in court then. I think they are still working with him.
Mazi Kanu would justifiably feel that he has been oppressed by the system. He has been held in custody, going through so much. You know what it means to be in a room and someone says you can't get out? All you can do is discuss with the wall. You are there losing your mind, and then you say you want to stand there in the dock and defend yourself. You are calling on Wike, calling on Malami and other high-profile individuals. You want to question them. You want them to serve as witnesses, and you are doing it in such an emotional, passionate moment. How do you feel Kanu would handle this case since he's opted to defend himself?
Well, we're not going to see anything different for what he has done before. He's going to come out there, roar like a lion, and then ventilate his views about the charges against him. I believe that one of the reasons why he dropped his legal team was that for him, he may not actually have ample time with his team. You know, I don't think they gave the lawyers enough access to him. So he will be
he complained about that.
Yeah. So if you are not giving him access to his lawyers, then more or less like the lawyers may not actually do much for him if he doesn't have unfettered access to legal representation, because some of them will go and DSS will not allow them to access him. Sometimes if he wants to be interviewed by his lawyers, there will be cameras everywhere. So how would they prepare him for the case? So I think he believes that if you can't allow me to access my lawyers, then I wouldn't need them. So let the bullets come, I will take them by myself. I think that might be the reason why he's doing what he's doing.
How strategic is this new norm, for him, by the way? How strategic is it? And the merits of self-representation in a high-profile criminal case such as his?
Like I said earlier on, if he's not allowed unfettered access to his lawyers, it's as good as the lawyers who doesn't need to be in court. So it will still be people who are representing him. They are not allowed to prep him for the case. So it's as good as they are not needed in the court. So strategically, well, I think he will do his best. I think he's well knowledgeable. I think he has a lot of facts and knowledge.
He knows the law.
See, this time around, it's not about the law, it's about the facts of the case. Because the charge against him, there's a legal aspect to it and there's also a factual aspect to it.
That's right.
The fact is that did he commit acts of terror? That's the fact. Now, if you establish that he committed acts of terror, then the law will now be applied to him. So from that doc, he's not going to give you legal postulations or legal views. He will give you evidence about the facts. So where lawyers are needed is to guide him so that he doesn't, skid off. But where it has to do with the facts. What is there to do during his examination in chief is to reel out what actually happened. There is a charge against him that he committed acts of terror. So what he will do is that he will tell his own story about what he did and what he did not do. So for him, he feels that he doesn't actually need a legal counsel this time around.
For him to dock these witnesses like high-profile individuals in Nigeria, by the way, how do you think this is going to pan out? And as I stated, we've been asking that question: are they going to respond and come and defend themselves? But definitely, it was stated that yes, once you're being called upon, you have to come to the law court and defend yourself. So how do you see this panning out? Him naming these high-profile individuals as witnesses.
First, I think he named them to establish that he is not a terrorist, right? So these are people who are somewhat connected to his maybe rendition, illegal rendition, who are connected to several acts. People like Governor of Imo State that was reported to say that the acts of terror in the state were not perpetrated by IPOB. So I think he picked some people who he feels that they will actually make his case better. Now, as regards to whether they will come, there are witnesses that are competent and compellable. When you have to do witnesses, you look about competence and compellability. So, issue of subpoena is an order of court to produce them. Now, whoever is subpoenaed to come and give evidence also has a right to file an application in court, telling the court that I don't have any connection to this case.
These people,
so
these people that he's called, they are not there to basically pour sand in his case. They are there to probably say some things that could make a better case for him. Do you see that happening? You talked about Hope Uzodinma now that has once dissociated the issues in the state from IPOB, right? Yes. So that's on one side. What about the FCT minister? Would he make Nnamdi Kanu's case better for him?
Actually, I don't think any of them will make his case better. But then in law, there's what we call a hostile witness. A hostile witness is when your witness turns against you. So if they come to court, they are now Nnamdi Kanu's witnesses. Now, if they give evidence contrary to evidence that will support Nnamdi Kanu's bid, what Nnamdi Kanu will do is to declare them hostile witnesses and put questions to them. He will not have a right of cross-examining his own witnesses. So what he's trying to do, he's trying to play a strategic, a master stroke by getting them to come to court. Definitely they will not give evidence in his favor. He will not declare them as hostile witnesses to be able to ask them some questions, which will make them to give some things that will extricate him.
Barrister Wabuko, I have to say this on live TV. You are too wise.
You
are just too wise. The way you unravel this case, the way you just, I mean, if everybody is turning the tables, then let's all turn the tables. Symbolically, what did it mean for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, after so many years in custody, for Mazi Kanu to stand there in the dock on his own? If he wins or loses this case, what would it go down in history as? What would be the story of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in that moment, standing there, the Constitution in one hand, his case in the other, and all the other documents that he had, he recited, he challenged the court? What would that go down in history as?
Well, actually, I think that has shown somebody who is bold enough to stand for what he believes in, bold enough to stand against all odds. What it means that you are facing a terror charge and then you are not cowering in fear. Because actually what people expected him to do is to go for settlement. And he's saying, I'm not settling. He's simply saying, I didn't do this. I know a lot of people have approached him to try to settle out of court, to try to look at the option of, settlement out of court, to try a sort of ADR, but he shows somebody who is very resolute in what he wants. He's already making headlines. All of us are talking about him today because he's resolute in what he wants to achieve.
So what's the case? What are the key issues in Mazi Kanu's case? We're seeing him in court. We're talking about what the court is doing, what police is doing. Could you strategically tell us what the exact cases are before Mazi Kanu at this point? Since he's defending himself, we will say before Mazi Kanu. What are these terrorism charges in the first place?
Well, the charges are very clear. The Terrorism Act is very clear. Terrorism Prevention Act and Prohibition Act is there. So what he's trying to do is to establish two things. One, that he didn't commit any acts of terror, that he didn't incite people to violence, that he didn't encourage people to commit, that he himself didn't kill anybody or commit acts. Then, secondly, he will also try to establish that the court has no jurisdiction. That's why he's bringing some of those people in to talk about his illegal rendition, because he's bringing some of these people like Buratai to court to actually ask them questions as to how they brought him all the way from Kenya to Nigeria. So he's trying to establish two things. One, that he didn't commit acts of terror. Secondly, that the court has no jurisdiction to try him, since he's made applications which the court refused up to the Supreme Court that remitted the matter for a trial. He's not trying to get to be on record by the evidence of the state itself. That's what he's trying to do. Get people who were once governors, who were in the military, who were former governors, to come and give evidence for him as hostile witnesses as to how he was illegally renditioned to Nigeria. And if he achieves that, then there will be no basis for the trial in the first instance.
As you calling out, some of the high-profile individuals are governors. There are 7 governors. Sanwo-Olu is there, and Hope Uzodinma. Now, some of these individuals who have immunity, are they going to, respond and make themselves applicable in the law court to come and defend and be witness, as Nnamdi Kanu has, named them as part of his witnesses? Are they going to, by the way, with them, having that immunity, backing them as governors?
Well, they have a duty to do if they don't want to come to court. If the court issues a subpoena for a witness to come, the witness has a right to file an application stating explicitly while he or she will not be in court to give evidence. So people who have the legal protection of immunity can bring an application to state that, hey, under the law, we are shielded. However, you know what the Constitution does by that provision is not to shield them from giving evidence, but to shield them from being prosecuted.
Oh, yeah.
So the Constitution does not shield them from giving evidence in any matter. What the Constitution shields them is from being sued to court. So if you are bringing them as a witness, there's no immunity from giving evidence, but there's an immunity from or against prosecution. So but they can still bring an application to court to stop them from coming to court on the basis of their position in government. They can do that. It's not left for the court to rule whether they can be compelled to give evidence or whether they should be let off the hook.
We saw him in the dock right there, reading out certain things, and let's track back to when they invaded his house in Abia State, by the way, and that's when this whole thing started. Self-preservation is the number one rule to life, right? And he needed to self-preserve himself. So a jumping bail and whatnot is part of the reasons given, So now, stating these things, these facts, tying these things, and him, being arrested or kidnapped in Kenya, what are we actually reeling out and judging, since the place the law is meant to start is not fertile?
So you see, that's what we have been saying. We know that whatever happened in Afara, Umar had that time, understand? For me, I will keep on saying Nnamdi Kanu did not jump bail. He did not. They were about killing him. It's very clear. The military wanted to do what they call show of force, and they carried the show of force from Umar Township to his village, to his father's house. They were proof. They were shot into his house. So it was not a show of force. So for me, I think there was an attempt to, let me use their phrase, neutralize him. So it was an act of self-preservation. We keep on saying that he did not jump bail. They tried to neutralize him. That's what happened. And then he escaped for his life before he was illegally renditioned to Nigeria. It was not even an arrangement between Nigerian government and Kenyan government. It was a stealth action. And
they ruled against it, though, the Kenyan courts. Yeah.
Yes.
So now, you move into this issue. It's high profile. And some people may be justifiably concerned that at this time, this is when he needs his counsel. You said something earlier that he may not have had unfettered access to his legal team, and he complained about that as well.
Yes.
Meaning that they might not be able to have the amount of grip on the story or his story as he would like. So he's like, let me just do it myself. That's what we're speculating on right now.
Yes, just speculation.
Yeah, just what we're speculating on right now. So does that translate to him possibly not trusting his legal team to handle this case, judging by the lack of communication that they've had due to the officials around them?
No, it's not a matter of trust deficit. It's a matter of breach of the Constitution. Because Section 36 is very clear that whoever is sued in an action as an accused person should be given ample time, opportunity, and legal representation.
So what does
and
he
he's
think?
complaining that he's not getting enough.
What does he think the council lacks?
The council does not lack anything. The only thing that is the problem is that they were not allowing his lawyers to prepare him adequately for his case.
Then does that show a depth of information?
Yes. So I think it's a matter of breach of the Constitution, because how can they prepare him when they are preparing him under cameras? How can you prepare your client?
So does that
in court?
so based on the story,
you're not allowed access to your counsel.
We were trying to draw a timeline because
Yes.
what journalists have not been able to unravel is why. So if we're to make a story out of this, Mazi Kanu has not had as much access to his legal counsel as he would like.
Yes.
Essentially, that means he's not been able to converse with them. And what are you conversing about? Information.
Yes.
So if he feels his legal counsel has enough information, then he can go ahead. You already ruled out financials. You ruled it out.
The lawyers will not have adequate information.
Exactly. So
Do you know one of the reasons why
Right.
bail is granted is to allow an accused person to prepare his case.
Prepare his case.
How can he prepare his case under CCTV cameras? What will his lawyer say?
So this is
whatever his lawyer will say will be used against the lawyers.
So we're using the elimination method. We've eliminated financials,
It cannot be financials. It cannot be.
eliminated trust. It's
Yes.
not a trust deficit.
Yes.
But it's possible that it's an information deficit.
Definitely.
So he feels he has the most information about his case.
Definitely.
And as such can present and defend
Exactly.
his case.
You see, there are things as a client you can only tell your lawyer, and no other ears will hear it. Because when you tell your lawyers things, you divulge some information that is not meant for the other ear. Your lawyer will now help you to prepare your case better. Imagine where the prosecution is also listening to your conversation. How will that case be conducted? The state is prosecuting. The state is monitoring the preparation of an accused person. So he doesn't have unfettered access to his lawyer. That's why one of the reasons for bail application is allowing the accused person to go home, sit down with his lawyers under confidentiality to prepare his case so that he comes to court, the state does their case, the defense does the defense. But this time around, the state who is prosecuting is also part of the legal team because they are listening to every conversation.
So let me jump in now.
Every question that will put Nnamdi Kanu, whatever Nnamdi Kanu will tell them, the state will already know. So what will he say again?
Let me throw in a spanner. You've established that, okay? Based on what happened with the NMA coming in and debunking the initial report that his own medical team gave, do you think that somewhere in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's mind, he is feeling like he doesn't know who could be complicit? Do you think he's envisioning a case where it's impossible to trust anybody? Like any politician, politicians can hardly trust anybody, right? You don't know who wants what. Do you think that he's wondering if every other person has been influenced? Now we've already heard, Kanu Agabi is a strong lawyer, powerful and the rest. But from what he experienced at NMA, saying that his condition is not life-threatening, and we saw his team earlier appeal to the NMA not to be compromised. They said it because they envisioned the possibility. Now this is not to say they were, but his team initially envisioned the possibility and appealed to them not to be used as weapons or tools. Do you think that beyond the issue of information, death of information possibly, that he could also have been thinking of the issue of if anybody could be complicit, if anybody could be acting against him? Because sometimes the enemy lies within.
Well, question you have to ask is that when the enemy said that he was fit, did they produce any result? They ran a check on him, right? Did they produce any medical result that his liver is functioning, his kidney is functioning? Did we see that? They simply said, we think he is fit to stand trial, right? Now they can say, no problem, let me stand trial. Let's go ahead with the trial. So I think it's a matter of, a lot of people will believe, general view will believe that NMA did it. You are conducting a medical examination under the watchful eye.
NMA's position is justified. My question to you, Barrister Wabuko, is, could that anti-incident have affected Mazi Kanu in a certain way that he's wondering if everybody else is compromised?
Definitely, he's seen himself as being alone. There's nobody on his side again. So he has decided to go all out to defend himself without anybody assisting him this time around. So I think that he doesn't actually believe that any other person can assist him now. If every other thing is working against him, the medical team, in fact, he was not even allowed. Imagine where he was not, his lawyers were not even allowed, his doctors were not even allowed to examine him. And the court had to order NMA. Why should the court order NMA? Doesn't he have his own medical practitioner? Must he be the enemy?
So what are we saying?
So if you are sick, the court will order an association to come and examine. What do you want the association to do when the government is involved?
What are we saying? What are we saying? We've talked about information.
Yes.
Now we're bringing in the issue of suspected anxiety over who can trust, who can I trust?
Yes.
Is that a valid point?
Very, very valid. Did you expect the enemy to do the opposite of what they did? Would you expect the enemy to say that he's not fit to stand trial?
We're talking about his counsel now. We're talking about his counsel.
I said earlier on that his lawyer cannot prepare him when the prosecution will also be part of his preparation. Because whatever they are doing, they will do it in custody, in DSS custody, with CCTV cameras. What will he tell his lawyers? See, there are information that you will not divulge until you go to court.
So this is
now,
not...
this information will not be in the open, even before the matter goes to court.
So this is not a case of him not probably trusting those around him. This is a case of him saying, it's better I keep what I know in my head.
Inside, and then say it open.
The table. Okay.
Yes, and say it open, so that every ear will hear it. Because if he does that, the oath of confidentiality will be broken. Because whatever he's telling his lawyers, DSS is aware of it, federal government is aware of it, Justice Omotoso is aware of it, even before the matter is given as an evidence.
So
and they wait for him. So he will be ambushed in court.
This time around, he has decided that since he can't discuss privately with his lawyers,
keep it inside.
He wants to internalize and break the table in court.
Exactly. Break all the table, all the legs of the table, so that everybody will hear it, including the media, including the press, including every other person in the court. They will hear it for the first time. So
are we eliminating the dearth of information and possible suspicions around complicity?
As regards to his legal counsel, issue of suspicion is not there, but issue of lack of access, unfettered access to his legal counsel. That is what has really played out.
Okay, let's talk about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's personality and the kind of person he is. He can be provocative sometimes and all that, his temperament and all. How can he manage in a law court that they need order in the court? You know, being the kind of person he is it going to be excuse of those attitudes while he stand, as a self-defendant?
I think the court will try to control whatever is happening. The court is the dominus litis of a case. So the court will try to slow him down. So he raises his voice, he starts screaming. The court will try to, and that's why maybe his lawyers don't need to, because his lawyers will try to, tell him to calm down. This time around, nobody will tell him to calm down aside the court. So I think that the court will actually try to slow him down, try to get him to calm down. Once I believe that Justice Omotoso will show a certain level of understanding, and then I think everything will play out very well.
Okay, looking at this case, right, from a permutation, how would this pan out after the 90 days?
If granted.
If granted, by the way, yeah.
Well, nobody can say. Nobody can say what is going to happen, because I think that until he gives his evidence in court, there are some evidence he might give. The court might decide that some of those information is not right for the public to hear. So, but then when he goes into the dock to give evidence, we're going to see what's going to happen. But for now, nobody is sure what will transpire in court. Nobody's very sure.
Are we about to experience a shockwave in Nigeria that same things that are going to be said in that law court is going to, have a ripple effect,
That's exactly what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is trying to do. He's trying to make sure that, because I know that there are certain things he may want to say, and this legal counsel will say, please don't go there. Don't cause chaos or crisis.
From the grapevine, right?
Yeah.
It's heard that certain reasons, part of the reasons why what is happening now is happening is because these individuals, these legal luminaries, always try to avert certain things to be said and put out there. So continue.
So when you are representing a client, there are certain information a client will give you. You try to rearrange it, or there are things you tell your client, please don't say this in court, okay? Let's rather go through this route. Now the lawyers, they know the decorum of the court, they know the demeanor of the court, they know the mindset of the courtroom, and then the setting. So they will try to avoid some certain things. But this time around, I think Nnamdi Kanu doesn't want that. He wants to roar. He doesn't want to follow the normal courtroom decorum and etiquette. He just wants to speak his mind. So I think he's telling his lawyer, stay off. Let me see what is on my mind. But then I think that the court will want to try to, slow him down to get him to maintain a certain level of courtroom decorum and etiquette, because if that is not done, I don't think the matter will go on successfully.
Knowing fully what the kind of person Nnamdi Kanu is, right? And right about now is him trying to say the raw truth. Do you think this truth, that the truth is going to come out from this litigation that's going to happen, is going to somehow destabilize the state?
I don't know what he wants to say, but I suspect that whatever he wants to say will be earth-shaking. And then maybe in the course of the trial, the judge might want to make sure that nobody, of course, has access to the courtroom. The court may decide to decongest the courtroom, so it will just between him.
Yeah. But we do see clips do leak. clips do leak from the
Okay,
courtroom.
so now
by the
speaking
way.
of clips leaking, right? Now we're seeing VDM, who of course you know is a social media personality, also an activist, and he's been very vocal. And lots of Nigerians are happy that he has finally commented on the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu case. So he is saying that all of this is just for public sake. Okay, in line with what Oji said, he said Nnamdi Kanu will likely be released at his old age. That's the government's plan. All these court appearances are just for public sake. Many Southeast leaders are behind his arrest. That's what VDM is saying about it. How do you respond? Do you think that Mazi Kanu, would they want to keep him maybe for 20 more years, as VDM is saying, till he's old and too weak to agitate for Biafra?
You know, VDM is a content creator. He's free to say anything he wants to say. I understand. Whatever he said is a very big falsehood. See, this Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case is not a common case. Even the federal government is not finding it very, very easy. Understand? Because this is a matter that has gone viral. It's not the everyday criminal matters that comes to court that will just be expeditiously tried, right? So it's a very sensitive issue. It's an issue that has to do with beyond a region, beyond a sub-region. It's a matter that is sensitive to the hearts of Ndibo, wherever they are, whether they are in the southeast or outside the southeast. So it's a matter that has to do with self-determination. So whenever you mention Biafra, a certain kind of emotion is evoked in the heart of the Igbo man and the Igbo woman. So the federal government is not actually trying to detain him. For now, if you ask me, my personal view, as at this stage, the federal government is actually in a dilemma.
So away from
do we convict him? Do we free him?
Yes.
The federal government is in a dilemma.
Speaking of this dilemma, Oji.
Yeah. Talking about convicting Nnamdi Kanu, you're a lawyer.
Yes.
How would you convict somebody that the processes of bringing him into the country and the self-preservation when they invaded his family house in Omaya? So where do you start from to put the traces?
That is what I'm saying. That the federal government is facing a dilemma because Nnamdi Kanu has kept on happening. Two major planks. One, that he didn't jump bail. Because the reason he was denied bail the second time was that he allegedly jumped bail in the first time.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I have the right to be granted bail. I didn't jump bail. There was an attempt on my life. I only tried to preserve my life. The Constitution guarantees him the right to life.
So we have two more questions before we wrap up, because we're running out of time, right? Effectiveness. There have been calls for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, high-profile calls and calls on the streets. The calls have taken to the streets indeed, and some of the calls have been arrested. How effective do you think these calls are in the ongoing trial of the IPOB leader? How effective? Would the court listen? Would the federal government back off because of these calls?
Maybe not because of the calls, but the federal government might want to release him based on issue of national security. Because there are matters that will come to court. The court will, the government will weigh options. Releasing him is as simple as ABC. But the challenge about releasing Nnamdi Kanu is, after releasing him, what next? That is a challenge, right? If they want Nnamdi Kanu to be released, very simple. The AGF goes to court, enters the nolle prosecute. Simply means that we are no longer interested in prosecuting this matter. If the AGF goes to court and enters the nolle, or sends even a junior lawyer from the Ministry of Justice Abuja to go to court and enter a nolle, Nnamdi Kanu walks free. However, that's why I said the government is facing a challenge. However, if Nnamdi Kanu is released, what next? Will you go back to the trenches and say, I am continuing from where I stopped? Because the challenge is this. The government doesn't want Biafra to go. That is the issue.
Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
No government wants the nation to be balkanized.
That's a fact. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is opening his defense today.
Yes.
And many Southeasterners online, because we have to carry along the online community, are asking for people to pray for him. Pray for Mazi Kanu, they are saying. Today is a really religious show. We started with the issues around the pulpit and then moved away to the divine plans by the new INEC chair. And it trickles down to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case as well. Southeasterners are saying Mazi Kanu will today defend himself by himself as a self-defendant in court. We should pray for him. What are your permutations about today's proceeding?
Well, I believe that he will come to court and say what is on his mind. He will tell his own stories. We don't know which way he might go. Two things he might do. He might, first of all, give his own kind of story, his own story. Second of all, he may continue to insist that the court has no jurisdiction to try him, which he tried yesterday. And the court says, address me during the address stage of the case. I'm not going to take issue of jurisdiction. Although the court should take the issue of jurisdiction first, because the law is very clear. whenever an issue of jurisdiction is raised, the court should take it first. Because if you waste all the time and at the end of the day, you come to the conclusion that the court has no jurisdiction to hear that matter, that means you just wasted the time of the court. So he may insist on talking about jurisdiction today, or he may tell his own stories, and then we'll see how it pans out.
According to the accusation leveled against Southeast leaders, do you think that they are complicit in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's continued trial?
This is very technical. A few minutes ago, I said, I know a lot of people approached him. At the point in time, Ejina Baribe was there. Even distinguished senator Ike Kuremadu was there. At the point in time, a lot of people have gone there. Even Chief Ojizokal has gone there. The question is this: what they discuss, we want to know. Talking about complicity, we may not actually say they are complicit because we don't have all the facts. But I know that the major challenge is this: Nnamdi Kanu is resolute. He's not backing down in his bid for Biafra. So if these politicians approach him and tell him that it's very simple, just agree to drop the bid, you will come and he will say no, and they will go back. So will you say that the Southeastern politicians are complicit? What would they have done? Would they hold the president by the jugular? Would they force the president to listen to Nnamdi Kanu? Let's be factual here.
Yeah.
And Nnamdi Kanu is resolute. As long as he's concerned, he's not dropping the Biafra bid. He's not.
So why?
So the question is this: if he comes out,
yeah,
what will be the end of the story? Will he go back to the trenches, or will he say, "Okay, I'm done"? If he says, "I'm done," what will his members say?
Good point.
What will his members say? Say, "You let us out."
Good point.
And you want to go back again? You cannot go back.
There's something I want to put. Okay, then why the teasers from all these high-profile individuals, the governors and all that, saying that yes, we should just give it time, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is going to be released. We're having a conversation with the president and all that, and also they even tag a couple of these things to you know connected to the center. Part of the reasons like, oh, we're going to have a proper conversation now. We have access to the presidency, and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's incarceration would somehow come to an end because now he has our ears and all that stuff. Why all the teasers?
You know, if you're outside the corridor of power, you don't understand the intricacies and technicalities of power. Because I know that if I'm a governor of Enugu State or Afia State, I'm from Abia State, right? And I approach the president and we talk one-on-one. I will say, release my brother. Do you know what the president will ask you? If I release him to you, will you guarantee that he will drop the bid? Will you guarantee that he will not go outside again to UK and start fighting Nigeria? If you can give that guarantee, I'll release him to you. What will you do as a politician? So, for me, I don't always like to accuse people until I have all the facts on ground.
And the question.
So, I believe that there are lots of moves for political settlements. I know that there are lots of moves.
The question
so
now.
I wouldn't say that the politicians are backstabbing. I almost call
you Barrister Sowore because that's where we're going right now. Now, the question.
If you call me Sowore, they will come and arrest me. I'm
the question I have now is, which of the Southeast leaders is willing to be a guarantor in Mazi Kanu's case? Away from there, let's move to.
Was the last time.
Yes, maybe he can present himself again. Maybe he can present himself again.
I think he doesn't mind.
Well, we'll ask him if he minds. So away from there now, we're wrapping up. 1 minute on the clock because we have to. I know you're enjoying this conversation. I am. Oji is. What do you think Southeasterners should expect now as they watch this court proceeding pan out? What should be the expectation on everyone's mind?
I think the Southeast politicians should re-strategize. If the former moves, in quotes, the former moves have failed, I think we should come back and re-strategize and find a way of getting Nnamdi Kanu. Strategize and see how they can, because this matter, like I said earlier, it's not as simple as it seems. It's a matter if some of the information come out in the fall.
Right. Away from
the unity
this
of Nigeria
now,
might be shaking based on this.
Very quickly, Sowore's arrest. That happened also there on the premises of the Federal High Court in Abuja. And of course, the PRO of Abuja Police came out and gave some reasons for him, saying that all the statements given by those they arrested on the protest ground had his name, that he was the one that led them into the restricted area, and they had to go pick him up. And they picked him up in court. What's your take?
It's an overkill. It's not necessary. The police is just trying to hit up the policy. It's not. What are you going to charge him for? Protesting? he has a right to protest as in Nigeria.
The restricted areas.
Restricted areas.
Some areas restricted.
By which law?
Which law?
Which law? Because you are charging somebody based on law, not based on sentiment, not based on utterances of a president. We are charging somebody based on law. And remember, till now, we have not seen the order. On a good day, they will show us the order that restricted protesters. So Which law are they going to charge him on? Is it on law or is it based on human sentiment that you shouldn't go there? Let us see the order first, and let us see the law that prohibits Nigerians from protest.
All right. Thank you so much, Barrister Wabuko, for joining the show today.
My
It comes
pleasure.
to an end for this segment, and we look forward to having more engagement like this next week. Thank you once
Thank you
again.
very much. Yeah.
My pleasure, always.
And of course, all eyes would be on the Federal High Court in Abuja. We'll be waiting to see what the detained IPOB leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, is going to say as he defends himself, opens his defense today. We'll watch, see, and of course, we'll continue to talk about this as the case progresses. We'll go on a quick break now, and when we come back, we'll look at a video that surfaced online showing the moments a man who has been accused of butchering his wife in Enugu was arrested by the Distress Response Squad. Stay with us. We'll be back in moments.